October Red back with the star. I'm going to call you exceptional. You know when you don't want to gas people up, but sometimes people do need to be gassed up. I think you might be one of them. Ben Whittaker, welcome back.
Thank you. October Red, Benzo. It's only right. The duo.
Listen, from diesel commercials to spinning fighters in the ring, we are at the last part of your camp. This is it now. It's done. We are getting ready for fight week. It only seems like 5 minutes. I was in here with you earlier. How's this camp gone?
Good camp. Great camp, actually. I've had all different type of sparring. I've brought sparring over. I've gone to sparring. So, perfect camp. No injuries. Everything's been great. So, just ready for fight week now. Get it over and done with.
Ben, I've got to ask you this. Is there a problem with finding new opponents? Because every time you seem to be on a card, it seems to be announced. And we're like creeping and looking and like, what goes on with the opponents with you? Is it getting tricky now?
I think that's what happens when you start hopping on one leg. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the goal remains the same. There was no opponent announced, but we still stayed professional. You know, we trained very hard, cut no corners in camp, paid for the sparring. They pushed me as well. So, if anything, sometimes it's better that you don't know the opponent because you can spar with different types of sparring. I've had tall, short, medium. So for me, it's been great.
That instinctive type of boxing that you've got anyway, like you said, you brought in all sorts of people because you don't really want to get comfortable with that one opponent in mind because you know and I know sometimes they might turn up and do something else anyway.
I think that's the great thing with the amateur game as well. When you're in the Olympics, World Championships, Europeans, you turn up on the day and fight whoever's there. You know what I mean? The draws get done on the day, fight on the day. So for me, I can adapt quick to styles. At the end of the day, you have to focus on this fight, but it's the end goal. So sometimes in camp you get stuck in, prepare for this guy. I'm preparing for down the future. So for me, it's all different styles. It's great for me right now.
The tasty light heavyweight division, I've been, I don't know, well, you could probably say stirring up some rubbish online. You've got the likes of Joshua Batti, Anthony Yarde and Craig Richards. They're all three of those are in the mix. And I'm going to ask you, I know those are heads that you're going to go after. But when you look at those fighters and when you look at matchups, which one of those fights would you like to see? Because I know that you sparred Craig. Obviously, you've got experience with Boti. Talk to us.
Yeah, I saw your little post. It was quite good, actually. And it's one of those, I think, if you throw any of them names in there, the great fights, they're all in a position now where Bivol, Beterbiev, they're fighting for the belts. Them guys are kind of behind them. So what's the point of waiting, letting their career wait out? They can fight each other. But I know there's politics, there's money, the people say things, different promotions. So it might be hard to get over the line, but for fans like us, for the division, it's juicy to see.
It's juicy to see, and we talk about getting things over the line. Listen, Ben, this is not too far away from you right now. The thing is, with the light heavyweights, we've either got people that we don't know, or we've got people that are virgin at the top. It's going to get to the point where you're going to be in the mix with these guys. People, I could see you in with those guys already. How are you going to deal with that when it's politics, when it's this and it's different promotional companies? Is your head right for that already?
Yeah, you know, I do know it's a business at the end of the day. Like you said, it looked like the Boti Yarde was going on, but then there's a little bit of politics now about money and things like that. So I know at that top level, it is hard, but I'm sure if those type of fights don't come out, there's other fights. There's the Benavidez, there's Bivol still be around, people like that. So I think my career don't really wait on them. It's whatever opportunities are there, belts, titles, opportunities. So for me, that's what you chase with the person.
I like that fact that it's not necessarily the person it's such, it's their status, or if they're holding a trinket that you want.
Exactly, it's that golden ticket. Sometimes just for the fans and just to shut people up, you might fight those people. But I think this game's about sometimes status beats everything. And not only that, it's all said and done, a belt beats everything. So if someone's a world champion, they might not have the status, but they're the number one in the weight. So that's who you kind of aid for.
I'm going to ask you as well, because obviously Dan Aziz went up against Joshua Boti and came up short in a points decision. I remember your debut, just before your debut when we spoke, he had that belt and you was like, yeah, I want that, I'll take him. How far does that type of fight seem away now? He's with Boxer, you're with Boxer, in-house. That could work, right?
Exactly. That, to me, that fight's not far at all, really. Something like that could happen at the end of this year or start of 2025. But like I said, when I came out, I said, I want the British champion. Like I said, there was nothing really against him. It was the belt. Sadly, he did lose that fight. He's got no belt, but he has got a bit of status. So there again, do you want the belt, the status, or the name? So it definitely could work, but if they had something on the line, it would be better, of course. But we'll just see what the year plans out. Like I said, the way I keep moving, it's only going to be up for me. So you do really push towards those guys.
Is it going faster than you thought it would? And I'm not saying that about opponents because it doesn't matter. You could get in the ring with Jesus Christ and people would have something to say. I get that. But do you find that your career is pushing forward quite quick from that amateur silver medalist, that Olympian, to like, you know, people in America reposting your vids?
Yeah, I think it's being pushed in that way because I got the ability. You know, if you're not getting pushed, obviously don't think you're good enough. But there's just that fine line. I'm 6 fights in and I'm 26. Some of these guys that you have mentioned, they're 33, 34, and they're only 15 fights in. Do you know what I mean? Or 16 fights, something like that. So give me another 6 fights. Give me 2 years. I'm in my prime then, and it's going to be scary. So for me, it's all about timing. I can definitely beat those kids now, but like I said, if I do beat them, then I'm in a waiting order. My career is going to be stagnant. So I'd rather activity. Each fight's a step up. Each fight's a different type of atmosphere. Go out my comfort zone. Maybe go to a different country. Things like that will all hold you in good stead for when you're really in that fight or flight moment.
I like the fact that you said that it's intelligent progression. It's not about rushing. It's about doing what's right. Like you said, you could end up fighting all of these guys, being successful in those fights. And then it's like, well, what's left? And then it's like, oh, should he go up a weight? And then before you know it, you're on a trajectory that you're not really interested in. When you think about a Craig Richards fight, say, for example, what do you see as Craig Richards' attributes? I'm going to ask you to judge the heavyweight so us viewers can have a perception of what you see.
Yeah. So Craig Richards, firstly, great person. You know, I sparred him this year. Went down, did some rounds with him, some rounds with Chev. And firstly, great person. You know, I have sparred some people and like they're a bit funny and think, yeah, it's gonna happen. But he was just a normal person. Did some rounds with him. Good jab. And yeah, good jab, really. I say that's his best attribute, good jab. And yeah, good jab. That's probably what they call him, the spider.
Yeah, for real, that ramrod jab of his, and quite an underrated fighter, in my opinion. I mean, look, okay, he's gone up, he's fought Bivol, he didn't get the win. You know, a close decision with Joshua Boatsi. But sometimes people overlook that, the skill. And he's come back, he's with a new trainer, Shane McGuigan, and he managed to get the stoppage. Changing trainers can work for some people, right?
100%. It's one of those things. I think sadly, Matchroom kind of use him as a test man, if that makes sense. They're kind of like, he won't say no. He's a person that probably won't say no. So not all fighters will say yes, he will. And it looks like they put him in to see what he's like. Then we'll put our other guy in, and that's what they do really. No one really wanted to touch Shakan at a point. He went in there, fought Shakan. No one really wanted to touch Bivol. He went in there, fought Bivol. So no one really wanted to touch Boatsi. He went there, fought Boatsi. So he is, in that respect, you have to respect him as a true fighter, and never says no.
We've got to move on to Anthony Yarde. Your thoughts on him? And as a boxer, I've had many debates about Anthony Yarde. I've always thought Joshua Boatsi was a #1 UK heavyweight, but what are your thoughts on Anthony Yarde and his skills and attributes?
Oh yeah, so first thing on Anthony Yarde, I gotta say big respect to him because he did an interview on me. And people was like, oh, do you find it disrespectful the way he's acting? And he actually said, what disrespectful? What he's doing is hard. You got people in press conferences talk about family members, moms, this and that. He doesn't do that. He just goes in there and boxes. And what he does is hard. And when he said that, I thought, you know what? Respect, man. Because he could have easily just jumped on the bandwagon, but he stuck up for what was right. And at the end of the day, he's the man that's gone out there, fought for titles, fell short. But it's one of those things with him. He fights his certain level, then Frank throws him in with it's weird. It's like no real progression. He just fights there or there. Man. And I think it's hard for him because at that level, he's obviously way better than that level. And then he gets to the high level and then just that bit of experience. But then you can't buy experience like fighting Beterbiev. So he's fought Beterbiev. He's went and fought Kovalev in Russia. So those things hold you in good stead. So if he does come back to this domestic level, that atmosphere probably won't get to him now.
I like that. We've got to touch on Joshua Boatsi, you know, fellow teammate, somebody that you know quite well. Talk to us about his skills and attributes. And I was criticised because I interviewed him before his fight that he had with Dan Aziz. And I was like, do you feel that you've kind of like been cursed because you've left 258, you left Matchroom, you said you wanted to come over for activity. Guess what? You haven't been active. So I was criticised by that, but I think it was a genuine question. But you know him as a fight skill set. So talk to us about Boatsi and his skills.
Yeah, it's very true what you said. He did all that to come and get activity, then he's in a position where he's less active. But that happens again, like I said, when you're at that level where, just because you're supposed to fight Bivol, so he was obviously at that world title level. Where can you really go other than that world level? And that's what I'm saying. When you do get to that level, your career does really slow down. And obviously, I want to get to that level where I am world champion, but I'm 26. I don't want to get to that position where I'm just waiting. Will I fight for a title? Will I not? Will I get the ranking? You want to get there, go straight into a world title. And sadly, he missed that boat when he didn't fight Bivol. But that Aziz fight was apparently for that. But then now they're talking about Yarde, so I don't really get it. But all I can say is for him as a person, I wish him nothing but the best, because he actually did help me a lot for the Olympics. I helped him for the Olympics, and that respect's there. But I just want to see him active now, because I think that's what's hindering him a little bit. It's hindering him because he goes missing for a good while. Then he gets put into like a 50-50 fight, and he looks a bit sluggish. Activity for Boatsi will be the best.
I couldn't agree more. And this is what I like about you. You're not afraid to give like honest opinions. In your point of view, if Anthony Yarde fought Craig Richards, who wins?
Ooh, that's a very good fight, because if you look at Lyndon Arthur, what's he good for? A jab. And then Craig's best attribute is a jab. So if I was a betting man, I would probably say Craig in that respect. But then I think just something about Yarde, he'd find a way. You know, I think he'd find a way. But if you've got to say it, I'd probably push towards more Richards.
And the same for Boatsi and Yarde Boatsi. What do you think of that fight?
Now, that's a hard one, because it's not like... I'll probably say Yarde. I'll probably say after the Aziz fight, it was like a big slugfest. And I think if you're going to slugfest with something like a Yarde, you'll get hit harder. So I do think Yarde probably.
Very, very interesting. We've heard that Turki Al Sheikh has put out a recent item. We saw Canelo. He was interviewed after his press conference for Jamie Munguia that he's fighting, I think, May the 4th. He's turned around and said, look, if a promoter's behind me and wants to pay $150 to $200 million, I'll fight Benavidez. And then, so everyone's like, why is he doing that? Then Benavidez puts out a beautiful picture of him and Canelo, and says, I'm a man of the people. If I lose, I'll donate my whole purse to charity, but if I win, I'll donate some of it. Let's make this fight happen. Mexico v. Mexico, etc., etc. But on a respectful tip, Turki Al Sheikh then said, I'll see what happens with the winner of Beterbiev Bivol, and then I'll give Benavidez that chance, rather than trying to work with Canelo. Your thoughts on that?
Firstly, when people talk about giving away their purse, I don't believe that, man. Maybe a little cut to charity for a good cause, of course, but there's no way you're giving away the whole bag. You've been working the whole camp and you're going to give away the bag. But I don't believe that. But at the end of the day, Benavidez, he truly wants to fight. He looks like he truly wants to fight. He's moved up to 175, fighting a good fighter in that Ukraine guy. And if the opportunity is there to fight for the winner of that, hey man, you gotta respect him. He's moved up and he's fighting the best. So hopefully that does come through for him. But if not, politics, sadly.
Boxing and politics, they tend to go hand in hand. Talk to us about the opponent that you've got next week, Easter Sunday, the day of Christ, the day of resurrection. I know you're quite religious yourself, so talk to us about that fight and what can we expect again?
Yeah, man, Easter Sunday, you've got to give thanks, of course. It's God's day, so it's only right to do God's work and go in there and do what I've got to do. Sacrifice a lamb. That's it.
Sacrifice a lamb. I couldn't have put it better than that. Sacrifice. For once, I'm tongue-tied. The poor geezer doesn't know what he's getting into. But apparently he's somebody that is excited about this fight. He's coming to fight, and it seems like we're getting maybe a queue of people that want to derail the Ben Whittaker train.
That's what I want. You know, I want people to come and fight, because the more they come and fight, the more they get hurt. I don't know what it's like now, but he was ranked higher than me in the British rankings on BoxRec. So like I said, I'm looking up, not down, and on paper he's up. But sadly, we'll see when he's down on Sunday.
So how many fights can we expect? I I get it, it's cliche, but we want to know when we're going to see you out again. I know you've been active so far, so that's a good start. But after your fight, how many times do you think we're going to see you out again this year?
Yeah, the ritual I usually do is have 5 days, I'll go straight back to the gym. So as soon as I've done what I've had to, yeah, so as soon as I do what I do next week, 5 days off, I'm back in the gym. Hopefully May, April, June, something like that. Faster the better because, like I said, I'm in a privileged position where I can get active. Like I said, the Boatsi, sadly, they're at that position where it slows down. And I think while you're in this privileged position to keep getting out, keep getting active and getting paid, why not, man? You know what I mean? You learn the lights, you build your profile under the lights. And it's all different styles, all different situations. And to be in another big card on the O2, I'm just absorbing all that for when it's my time.
And we literally can't wait to see you back out again. Somebody that's not afraid of the controversy, and I've always credited you because you're not scared of being yourself. And you having that attitude has brought eyes from across the pond. Ben, I know I'm no superstar, I'm no boxer, but I've had a lot of people support from the US than I've had in the UK. There's something different that the US, it grabs their attention. What is it, Ben?
I'm going to show you something now.
Yeah, get it up. We like this. He's getting receipts.
I was like, oh, it's a bit weird. On my Instagram, so when you go on your Instagram followers,
Yeah.
it says where the country, so countries,
Oh, wow.
the most country that follows me and is locked in with my content is Brazil. Secondly, United States. Then third, United Kingdom, which is crazy. I'm a UK fighter. I represent UK. I represent the UK in the Olympics. And it's just what it is. But I got to respect all the other countries as well. Brazil, United States, France, places like that you wouldn't think would really be in tune with me. They're in tune with me. So I'm just touching different parts of the world, and it's a privilege, really.
Listen, it's going to be fantastic when you start going abroad to fight. Your American debut should be interesting, but I think the reception that you'll get for that showmanship, and to an extent, I see why Yarde has that respect for you, because he's got that flashiness, because he's got that flamboyance too, and you either love it or you hate it. It's that kind of like that Marmite effect.
Yeah, and like you said, that's what I do like about Yarde. When I was coming up as amateur, I used to watch him, and he used to have the Mayweather swag. He used to do the pads, the lions in the camp. He went to America as well, fought out there, so he's a great person for the UK fight fans to really get behind. There's a lot of people who just get in there and get the job done, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, at the end of the day, that's what fighting's about. But you got people like us who are trying to flip that switch and just bring something different, because the Americans do it great. We're trying to bring that, and sometimes you do get derailed, you get cussed down a little bit, but just be true to yourself. At the end of the day, I was doing this when I was a damn 11-year-old walking in thinking I was somebody, and I wasn't. And I always used to think about my ring walks, this, that. I've got the opportunity to do it now. Why not? So at the end of the day, your career is very short. It'll go like that. So for me, it's achieve what you can, win what you can, and have fun while you're doing it.
Listen, what a positive note to end on. Ben, it's always a pleasure. I don't know if I'm going to be there next week, but regardless, I'll be cheering you on. Everybody, the exceptional Ben Whittaker.
Thank you very much. October Red came through with the exclusives. Peace.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.